First of all, there's always somebody that's better than you. I guarantee it. There's someone that's done more than you. There's someone that's had better experience. There's someone that's accomplished more. And if you are truly the master of something, whatever one thing you're a true master of, there's going to be people that are a lot better at other things than you. So you might be the master of one particular thing, but you have to respect the fact that people are going to be masters at other things or better than you. I mean, so if you're super strong, that's great. Let's see you run a marathon. If you're super flexible, awesome. How much can you deadlift? If you're smart, that's great. You're smart academically. Let's check out your common sense and see where all that's at. So you're going to be good at one thing, but you're going to have failed in other areas or have weaknesses in other areas. And so you just have to keep that in check. And I'll tell you, like, I recognize why I've been successful. For one thing, been surrounded with great people. For another, been lucky in certain situations that I've been in certain times. And if you start thinking that yourself, that you're better than other people, you're going to have issues, because in the long run, you want to stay humble, just stay alive, because life will humble you. Life is hard. And if you're pushing hard and you're driving hard and you're trying to achieve a lot, you're not always going to win. I don't care who you are. You're going to get humbled. It's going to be hard.
We all have times where we know we're supposed to do something, but it doesn't seem fair to forgive that person that did you wrong. Be kind to a neighbor that's not treating you right. Volunteer at the hospital, even though nobody is saying thank you. Everything on the inside will say, I'm not forgiving them. It was their fault. They need to ask me for forgiveness. I'm not working on that small project, serving in the nursery. I'm more qualified than that. But if you're going to reach your highest potential, you have to humble yourself and do things you may not understand.
Humility is not a weak, wimpy, go around, with some supposed look of humility on your face all the time. To be honest, I think that just is annoying to God. The place to be humble is in your heart and in your mind. And if you have a humble heart and a humble mind, then it's going to come across in a right, godly way. A humble person doesn't think more highly of themselves than they ought to, but they don't think lowly of themselves either. They really just don't have themselves on their mind that much.
So many people that are successful, they've got some hard luck stories along the way of things that they had to push through and overcome in order to get there. They got humbled. And if you're winning every single time, then your goals aren't high enough. So step those up. So, I appreciate the kind of comment, but, man, it's not hard to be humble when, you just take, like, maybe someone, people always think, oh, he's a Navy SEAL or whatever. There's a lot of SEALs that are more badass than me, that done more deployments, that have gotten after it more than me. And I know that. That's awesome. I mean, good for them. They got after it. Good. So I don't feel like, I did more than everybody. No, there's no one like that. So you gotta stay humble. You gotta stay hungry if you want to stay in the game. And believe me, you want to stay in the game.
When you swallow your pride and say, this may not make sense, but I'm going to do what God's asking me to do. I'm going to humble myself and be good to this person that did me wrong. I'm going to be my best at work, even though nobody's giving me credit. When you walk in humility, you will see the great haul of fish. Like Peter, your promotion, your healing, your breakthrough, it's in your humility. The scripture says Jesus humbled himself and became obedient. It doesn't say he was obedient because he was so strong-willed, so righteous that he always did the right thing. Even Jesus had to humble himself. It takes humility to walk in obedience. Without humility, Jesus could have thought, I'm the Son of God. I don't have to put up with these insults. I'm not going to the cross. It was his humility that kept him from retaliating from the people that did him wrong.
Because see, sometimes we just think if we're in a difficult situation, then the whole world has to stop until our problem gets solved. And that's just not true. While you're hurting, God will use you to help somebody else if you'll let him. And that's one of the quickest ways to receive your own healing. While you're hurting, you can be in a very difficult situation, and you can be there with a smile on your face and a good attitude. And while you're waiting for your breakthrough, you can and should be a blessing to other people.
When we don't have humility, we think we're always right. We'll be stubborn, hard to get along with. Our relationships will be much better if we'll humble ourselves and let somebody else be right. Honor them by letting them have their way. When Victoria and I were first married, she didn't like me to go into the kitchen while she was cooking after I worked out and washed my hands. She didn't want my sweat to be around the food. The problem was, when I came in from the outside, the kitchen sink was the most convenient sink. It was right there in my path. I didn't want to walk to the back. This was too easy. And for a long time, I'd run in there and wash my hands real quickly and hope that she didn't see me. And she never harped on me, but I knew she didn't like it. I reasoned it out and thought it's not hurting anything. I'm careful not to drip anywhere. And besides, this is my house too. I don't feel like walking to the back. Here, I just played 90 minutes of basketball, running up and down the court. And I came home. I didn't want to walk 30 more feet to the back. Pride causes us to make lame excuses, to be stubborn, only see things our way. One day, I went in there to wash my hands, and I heard something down in here say, Joel, when are you going to start honoring your wife by doing what she's asking you to do? I thought, that couldn't be God. It's never God when we don't like it. But there may be things that you don't feel like are right. You don't think you should have to do them. One way you can honor God is by honoring the people in your life. Well, I shouldn't have to walk to the back. I shouldn't have to clean up the mess they made. I shouldn't have to sit in this section where the ushers asked me to sit. God is saying, will you do it for me? But I wonder how much better our relationships would be if we'd start walking in humility, honoring the other person, letting them have their way, not always having to be right.